Whilst mass protests may be a rare sight in Sisi's Egypt, crackdown on dissent is not. In Suez, anti-government protesters who gathered for the second night in a row were confronted by police and other security personnel who fired tear gas and other forms of ammunition at what appeared to be unarmed demonstrators. Egyptians first took to the streets on Friday evening, demanding that former army general turned President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi resigns. In Cairo, whilst the numbers weren't huge, their voices were loud and clear. In Alexandria, Egypt's second city, people angered by corruption, poverty and oppression called for the same. The people demand the fall of the regime. In Mansoura, Giza and Mahalla, as well as several other cities, what appears to be a nationwide movement has begun to form. These protests come off the back of revelations by a former military contractor named Muhammad Ali, who exposed millions of dollars worth of embezzlement and theft of state funds by Sisi and his family, at a time when the Egyptian president has introduced sweeping austerity measures, claiming the government was no longer able to subsidize living costs. On Saturday, Ali released another video giving Sisi a one-week ultimatum.
I am still waiting for a response from the defense minister and security forces saying that Sisi is out. He is no longer fit for office. Next Friday is his ultimatum. I am waiting for their decision. The next step is a multi-million-man march. We started in our local streets, but next Friday we will take to the major squares.
Muhammad Ali is not a political leader, but his message has resonated with many Egyptians, the majority of whom live on just $2 a day or less.
The people are starving. My life savings have evaporated. Why? Why does Sisi starve us while he lives in luxurious palaces? Why is he trying to humiliate us? He is supposed to be a public servant working for us.
Sisi, who is in New York for the United Nations General Assembly, denies corruption allegations, describing them as lies. Sisi banned all unauthorized protests after he led the military coup which deposed Egypt's first democratically elected president, Mohamed Morsi, 6 years ago. Tens of thousands of Egyptians were arrested and jailed in the government crackdown which followed. Now, Human Rights Watch is calling on the Egyptian government not to repeat past mistakes, urging leaders to
protect the right to peaceful protest in upholding Egypt's obligations under international human rights law. Authorities should immediately release all those arrested for solely exercising their rights.
Whilst there are parallels that can be drawn with the 2011 uprising which led to the ousting of autocratic President Hosni Mubarak, the situation today is also different. It may still be early to predict how these protests will end and whether they will force regime change or not. What is undeniable, though, is that for many Egyptians, the current status quo of poverty, corruption and oppression is not an option. Jamal, el-Shayyal, Al Jazeera.